Hey guys, this is Locke. This is my review on Tifa. In short, she is a very good unit that is on par with Tidus and Ninus. I definitely recommend pretty much everyone to build her, and I'll get into the reasons why I say everyone should build her. But anyway, to start, I'm just going to start with her stats. So she has a lot going for her. If you look at her agility, it's at 68, which is very high. She also has a passive that increases her agility as well. She starts with move 3 and jump 2. However, she has another passive that increases move and jump by 1, making it move 4, jump 3, which is very, very good for especially like CM scenarios where height plays a huge distance and you really want to be able to close the distance between you and your enemies if you are a melee character. So she has that going for her as well. Um, she has resistance to both charm and stop, and it's very likely that you will be using the Tetrasulfide Esper on her, which gives her additional disable resist of 25%. So that's pretty much the most common resist that you want: charm, stop, and disable. And she already has innate resistance to two of them, and will likely get a resistance to the third one from the Esper choice. Additionally, she is about 20 points behind Luck compared to 2B. However, she still ranks the seventh highest in Luck for all the characters that we have. And even if she's a little bit lower than 2B in terms of Luck, she does make up for it with her innate defense of 9. And she has slightly higher HP as well. And in her Subjob, she gets access to Immortal Spirit, so she is more tanky and beefier that way compared to Tubi, who is a little bit more evasive than Tifa. She only has a negative resistance to pierce. All the other resistance is positive or neutral, and pierce damage isn't as common as it used to be like a few months ago. There is some pierce attackers coming up in the future, but as of right now, at least, they aren't so common. So I think that's pretty good. Like very good resistance across the board. She has very good stats across the board. Very good elemental, sorry, not elemental, but status element resistances. So I think from a stats point of view, she's looking really, really good. Now we'll get into the skills. And I mean, across the board, she's just really good anyway. But I'm going, section by section. So we will talk about the passives first. So she gets access to Shadowrunner, which increases her agility and luck. And both agility and luck increases her evade. So if you're running her as an evade character, this might be one of the good passives to take. If you're running her for class match, or especially in like manual class match, Shugichi, the ninja passive, is very good as well because you want to again have like move 4, at least jump 2. She gets jump 3 with that. So I think that's good. I think if 2B had access to move 4, I think it would make her like even better than she is right now. I think that's like the one thing that, in my opinion, she's missing. Just that like move 3 is not as good as move 4. I think that's the only thing that 2B is missing and keeping her back a little bit, at least for me personally. And Tifa has that, so she's very good. Now her other passives are also very good because she already has like 9 innate defense. You add 12 to that, and then you get some more from like her equipment. And you might even give her like a defense buff from one of the other units in her formation, and she can get defense up there. So you might even want to build her like defense instead of evade, and if that's the case, you might take Holiness Protection instead of Shadowrunner. And for some, say like PvE scenarios, you might want to have higher defense. And finally, that other passive she has there, the Zangan style martial arts. This is also very good. So all the passives are very good, but I think I see this one being used more in PvE scenarios, especially in things like raid battle, because that acquired AP 40%, that could become handy in raid situations where you want to increase her AP faster than normal because you would like her to keep using skills longer. So this way she might not be as AP intensive and require Ziza spells. You might be able to find a way to use her without that, and just have this passive equipped, maybe give her a second one, like a second TMR or something that also increases the accurate AP. So like she might not be as AP intensive as like a typical physical DPS because of that skill. But that is still a little bit niche. Like I think it's more useful probably for PvE scenarios. But I'm looking at this character as all, not just for PvP. So I think all the passives have their uses, and I think that it gives her a lot of versatility. Um, for the counter, I mean, again, it depends on what you want to go. I would either go with Counter Chakra or Paladin's Guard. Paladin's Guard is very good because, like, if you reduce physical damage by 45%, that's pretty huge, and it has saved both myself in a lot of fights and enemies in a lot of fights where I don't expect it to proc and it does, and they survive, and so on and so on. So that's a good passive. But even the other passive, the Counter Chakra, that would probably get rid of like this disable if it lands and you don't have disable from the Esper, or and it also like heals herself as well, increases HP, so it gives her a little bit of healing, and it dispels other elements. Another good one is Frostbite. So that's an element that we're seeing more and more of, and so if she can already remove it because of this proc chance, that might be a good bonus that you weren't expecting, and you're happy that you don't have to deal with it, right? So but I mean, counters to me, I don't really spend too much on it because it's like it's just like like a bonus if it procs, and I never count on it to proc, so I don't really spend too much time talking about it for that reason. Um, Now she gets a very unique skill in her unparalleled strength. I mean, once you get her EX upgrade, actually, is it EX upgrade? I think so, right? Yeah. Once you get her EX upgrade, it changes the unbridled strength to unparalleled strength, and it gives you an attack and defense penetration buff, but it also increases the effect of two of her other skills. And one of the skills that increases is her normal attack. It goes from 70% damage to 131% damage, and also gives it a wind type strike attack. Before it was a normal type attack, and now it goes to wind. So you can actually use this now for combos, because when you're chaining for wind, you can use like her normal attack just to chain. So again, it might come very handy in things like raid battles where you're building a wind team and you want to keep the chain going. So like, it's a unique buff because nobody has. I don't think any of the units that we have right now have something like that changes their normal attack to a wind type attack. So that's very interesting. And the other skill that is increased is the Omni Strike skill. So this goes from a 210% modifier to 250% modifier. So that's a pretty big chunk. Like if you think about a vision card increases it by, like, say, strike plus 35. So this is increasing it from by more than the maximum amount of vision card would. So that's a pretty big buff. But I mean, and it also breaks barriers as well. So it'll probably be one of the hardest hitting skills that she has, I think. However, it is only a range height one and a range one skill, so it might be a bit hard getting her to use that because she has to be exactly in right next to the unit to use it. So she might be using other skills more often than this one. However, the next skill that she has, Overpower, which is upgraded from her EX, is it has a pretty good range. It has a range of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It only has a range height of 1, but range height, AoE height of 1. And the best thing about this skill is that it actually moves her closer to the enemy. So that's a really good skill, and especially with the range that it has. If you use her in like a double quicken team or something, or even a quicken team, you can have quicken cast on her. You can use her. You can move towards the enemy with this skill, and then you can use the Omni Strike skill that has a 250% modifier and do like crazy ton amount of damage with that, right? So Omni Strike by itself isn't I would be like, okay, if you can get into range, that's great. But now combining that with the Overpower skill gives you it lets her get into enemy range even faster, and it's more likely that she will have chances to use the Omni Strike skill before she's like taken out or something, right? So I feel like the combination of those two skills goes well together, and I think this is actually what makes her pretty strong and powerful. I think if she didn't have the Overpower skill, she would be rated like a notch lower than, in my opinion, like Tidus or Ninus, because I would see it a little bit harder to actually take advantage of her main skills. But because of this teleporting and attacking ability, like together, and with this huge range, I think that really sets her apart. Uh, at least to the same level of Tidus and Ninus. Now the other two skills, I mean, she has Star Shower and Whirling Uppercut. I don't know; those don't really seem well. So like, actually, I missaid. The Star Shower is really good because it has a 4-hit combo. So this is great for building chains on enemies, especially again for raid boss and things like that. And if you are running a win team and the opponent has a barrier or something, or if the opponent just has like so much defense, if you use this and then chain it with somebody else on a win team, you will do massive amounts of damage just because of that 4-hit elemental combo. Um, Now the other one, Whirling Uppercut, is the one that I was like a bit iffy on. I mean, it's a 2-hit combo. It has a little bit more range than the others, but it doesn't really strike me as like a great skill. I mean, sure, I guess it might have occasional uses, because it has a bit higher range than Star Shower. So if you want to change something, sure, I guess it could occasionally be useful, but I don't see it as like it's not what I would expect of a job level 25 skill. Let's just put it that way. Um, I think it's a little bit lackluster for a job level 25 skill, but it's still nonetheless. I mean, I could still see it having niche uses because it has slightly higher range than Star Shower and a height range of 1 as well, whereas Star Shower has a height range of 0. Um, so I think her best sub is actually her monk sub job because it gives you access to unyielding stance, which is the same as immortal spirit. So this gives she can't be a one shot because after you kill her, she still has 1 HP from this proccing, and then you have to kill her again. So combine that with like high evasion and high defense, and like she becomes a force to be careful of, especially with units that have high evade. If you run into somebody that has guaranteed hit or something, at least now they have to attack you twice to take you out. Like a one shot is not going to do it because they have to get rid of this unyielding stance. So I think that's most likely her best sub job. But the other sub jobs have uses as well. Especially like Paladin sub job with access to Saintly Wall and Sentinel. Like you can actually make her like pretty tanky and beefy with that. Um, but I don't know if you want to give up Immortal Spirit for that. So I think it's a little bit more niche. Maybe in like more PvE scenarios, this might be more something that you would use more often. But even the Ninja sub job, I think it could surprise people because if say like wind evade teams or just evade teams in general becomes a thing, if you have her on Ninja sub job and have the Decider of Fate on her, that could change the game because now you're getting 60 accuracy for a game, which is huge. Sorry, not for a game, 60 accuracy for a turn, which could completely change the tide of a battle, right? So, it's again something niche, and she also gets Utasemi as well, which can increase her own evasion rate by 60. She doesn't have any other skills that increase her evasion rate, so this doesn't, it doesn't share evade with something. Like for example, if you look at Shadow Links, she has both Utasemi and the Samurai evade buff, and so one of them would override the other, right? It doesn't stack. But in this case, she would get an additional 60 evade, unless you're getting the Samurai buff from like somewhere else or something, or a TMR. But for her kit itself, this is the only way of increasing evade, and it's a huge amount. Poison Mist as well is a good way of getting around, and it builds AP as well. But I think it's not as good just because she has access to the overpower from her main job skills. Finally, her Limit Burst is also very good. It gives you a high chance of inflicting stun for 2 turns. Not so many units have resistance to stun. Like something like Stop is like so much better than stun, but so many units also have resistance to stop. Not so many units have resistance to stun, so it makes it overall more useful. And usually, you only get stunned for 1 turn. So as you're getting stunned for 2 turns, this is a much better like a ability to have than stun for 1 turn. And stun also reduces your defenses, so while you're being stunned, you take more damage. Um, so that's all I'm gonna say about her and her kit in general. Now I'm gonna talk about. Sorry, that's all I'm gonna say about her and her kit specifically. But now I'm gonna talk more in general, and why you should invest in her. So in the other collabs we had, Tidus came out with Yuna, and everybody was excited for Yuna, but Tidus was really the unit that, in my opinion, I've been using way more than Yuna, not just for PvP, but like for PvE as well. Like in the last raid that I did, I was able to duo just with Tidus and Ninus. Both of them are free characters, right? I've used him in so many raids. I've used him with water units. He does really really well, and I can see Tifa being to that standard. Like she is, in my opinion, going to do really well, and you could probably do a ton of content with her. So I highly recommend investing in her. Same thing with Ninus as well. And Ninus doesn't even have his own like dedicated VC. However, he still does a ton of damage. I especially use him in PvP, uh, in like live PvP matches, on manual matches, because of his move forward jump 2. And Tifa comes with that. So she's not only going to be limited to PvE scenarios. I think she's going to do just as good in PvP as well. Um, Now, why I think literally everybody should be investing in her is because she is given to you for free, and you can get a ton of her shards for free. Like you can get 70 of her shards from the guild banners. You can get 40 of her shards from her level 40 quest. You can get a ton of shards from the Chocobo expeditions. You can get shards from the Mog shop. You can get some shards from the stars. You can get her shards from challenge board. Just to give you an example, I pulled Summer El Sorel last week, and just only from like the free shards and the paid daily shards. So you spend like $1 a day, and you get shards from you know the daily bonuses, and then you also spend like, say, what is it, 60 shards. Sorry, you spend 60 Visior to get 5 shards. Like only doing that, I am less than 150 shards away from getting her to level 99, and that's only within a week. And her shop is still going on for 2 more weeks, and in that 2 week time frame, I'll probably get a ton more of her shards. So I'm very close to getting her to 99 without actually spending any Visior buying her shards for like a normal price. It's always like heavily discounted paid Visior shards. Now I understand not everybody has access to it, but maybe you can get her to like level 79 for free, like completely just with lace free shards, and then leave her in the barracks. Like that's not gonna hurt you, right? So this is why I highly recommend it, because Tidus is very good, Ninus is very good. These two units have been carrying me in a lot of things, in like so many raids and scenarios, and I can see the same thing for Tifa. If you are a new player, I highly recommend getting her to at least 99, if not 115. I don't think you should rush to get her to 120, because, as I said, her 120 skill isn't is a little bit lackluster in my opinion, but she's there, and she's going to do very good. Like she has all the things you need of a unit to make her very good. She's also, even right now in JP, which is like months ahead of us, she's the best strike unit in the game. So if you need any content where strike is the damage to go, maybe in like a tower stage where you really need strike damage, Tifa is who you want for that. So I highly recommend building her. As of today, I think I'm like maybe like 40 shards away from getting her to level either 79 or 89, something like that. Like basically, I've gotten a ton of her shards for free. So I mean, you guys should as well. And the guild banners are still going on, and the daily bonus bundles, if you want to spend $1 on her, is still going on as well. So I highly recommend you take advantage of this free unit that's given to us. I know a lot of people are excited for Cloud, but that doesn't mean just because the unit is given to us for free, it doesn't mean that she sucks because she's given to us for free. She's actually a very, very good unit. Same as Tidus and Ninus. I know I'm repeating myself by saying that many times, but these are all very good free units that are given to us, and we should really take as much advantage of it as possible, because Actually, if you look in the direction of the game, they're giving us so many limited units, like time and time again, and we don't have the resources to build all of them. So when they give us a free unit, like for free that we don't have to pull, and it's a good unit, make sure you take advantage of it because you always need more Vizier for the next limited unit that's coming up, and you don't have to spend any Vizier on pulling her, so you know. So I think I've said all I have to say about her. Now about her vision card, it is definitely the best in stat for her. And if you're a new player, I think you should definitely be getting this card for her because Tifa and Cloud should actually be like the main units for your team as a new player, and you want to have the best stats for them in the game because they're going to be carrying your accounts for a while. So as a new player, you definitely want to figure out some way of getting this card. What I mean by that is like you want to get this card, but you might want to wait maybe a couple of weeks to get it, just in case there's a better banner out there. That's what I'm doing anyway. But I definitely do plan to pull for this card at some point and get it. Um, the only thing that should be hurrying is the guild banners. You want to make sure that uh, get 10 shards a day from the guild banners for this vision card because that is going to be gone in a week. So definitely take advantage of that and get that. Uh, and it is, I mean, there isn't really much to say. It's a good card for win teams. It's a good card for Tifa. If you're planning on running one or both or either, you should get it. Um, I mean, maybe like if you're planning on running win teams with like 2B and you're not planning on getting Tifa, maybe you shouldn't be getting it. But I mean, you're already given Tifa for free. At some point, I'm sure you'll get her to 99, even if you have to do it very slowly. So I mean, I unless you know for sure you'll never be using Tifa, then maybe you don't want to get it. But overall, it's a great card, and like even the bestowed effects that are given for wind are strong, even if it's not Tifa. So just look at like if you put this on 2B, she gets a ton of attack, she gets a ton of evasion rate just from the bestowed effect, and then she gets strike attack 35, evasion 10, single target resistance 20, which is very good, right? Like single target resistance 20, which is the same as the Odin card, and people use Odin uh, just for that effect. So you're already getting like so many other things on this card besides that effect. It's like a bonus, right? So it's a very good card. And yeah, I mean, there isn't much to say. It's a good card. If you should plan to get it, especially if you're using Tifa. That's all I have. That's my review for Tifa. If you have any other questions or comments, or if anything I said was unclear, please leave me a comment below, and I will do my best to answer it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you on the next one. Take care, guys.